A very good evening. From stories around the world to stories here at home, this is the National News Broadcast. I'm Vidushni Sadish Kumar.
I'm Avin Hettiarachi and here are today's headlines. The largest tyre factory in South Asia declared open in Horana. 80% of the total production will be exported. Hindu devotees celebrate the Thai Pongal festival adhering to health guidelines. Tax concessions for the cinema industry. The Asian Buddhist Conference for Peace begins in Colombo. Tourism industrialists in Arugambe in grave crisis situation amidst the COVID-19 pandemic. 1.5 billion rupees worth of provisions for agricultural development in Monoragala. Up to 92,000 Americans could die from COVID-19 within the next 3 weeks, US health authorities predicts. The recoveries in Sri Lanka reaches 87%.
In your local stories this evening, President Gotabaya Rajapaksa declared open Ferentino Tyre Corporation Private Limited, largest tyre and radiator tyre manufacturing factory in South Asia today. The factory has been set up in Horana. Upon arrival at the event, President Rajapaksa was welcomed by the chairman of Ferentino Tyre Corporation Private Limited, Nandana Lokavithana. After unveiling the plaque, President inspected the entire manufacturing process at the factory. The factory has been set up on a 155-acre land, belongs to BOI Industrial Zone in Vagavatta, Horana. Investment of the first phase is $100 million. Manufacturing will be carried out using European technology and state-of-art equipment. Special tires will be manufactured for SUVs while catering to the demand in the world market for tires for cars, bicycles and three-wheelers. 80% of the production will be exported and the remaining 20% will be supplied to the local market. The first stock of production will be exported to the USA this month. Promotion of the export market potential of this country, generating a large number of direct and indirect employment opportunities and the ability for local rubber producers to obtain a higher price are some of the benefits of the factory. The management of the factory has taken measures to recruit qualified women to fill the vacancies for technical positions, beating adopted standards in the industrial sector. The factory is an eco-friendly entity. President presented a memento to Devmi Yasasmi of Sumanajyoti Vidyalaya in Ingiriya, who obtained 200 marks in the Grade 5 scholarship examination held recently. Chief incumbent of Sri Kalyani Samagri Dhamma Mahasangha Sabha, Sri Jayawardenapura Kotte, Most Venerable Ittapane Sri Dhammalankara Thera and Mahasangha Ministers Vimal Weerawansa, Rohita Gunawardena, Mahinda Amaravira, Ramesh Patirana, State Ministers Piyal Nishantha, Kanaka Herath, D.V. Chanaka, Member of Parliament Sanjeeva Edrimanna, several officials of public and private institutes were among the gathering.
Hindu devotees worldwide celebrate Thai Pongal Day today. The objective of the commemoration is to extend gratitude and to recall the services of the sun to maintain and enhance the agriculture, which is the foundation of their livelihood. On the day of Thai Pongal, the Hindu community pay homage to Sun God by carrying out religious observances and activities in their paddy fields. Accordingly, the Hindu devotees prepare Pongal in accordance clay pots and in the paddy fields, in which they engage in agricultural activities and offer first offerings of the Pongal prepared from the first portion of the harvest to Sun God as an expression of gratitude. Hindu devotees also engage in religious observances by boiling milk outdoors in front of their respective homes and preparing Pongal while offering the prepared foods to their Sun God. Subsequently, they visit Kovils dressed in their new clothes and engage in festivities in company of their friends and relations. President Gotabaya Rajapaksa has extended his best wishes to Tamil community of Sri Lanka who celebrate the Thai Pongal festival. which has earned the respect and recognition of the society and also marks the noble virtues honoured by the people. Issuing a statement marking the Thai Pongal festival, the President has indicated that his sole objective and that of the government is to usher in prosperity to all Sri Lankans irrespective of racial or religious differences. What contains in the government policy statement Vistas of Prosperity and Splendour is the means to achieve this noble objective. Tamil community who live by the Hindu faith consider Thai Pongal to mark the dawn of the new year, during which their expectations would be fulfilled. On the joyous occasion, he extended his pleasure in joining the Tamil brethren to share their joy and happiness. Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa has said the festivities of Thai Pongal and the values it propagates may cultivate a spirit of peace and reconciliation between all Sri Lankans. In this Thai Pongal Day message, he said, even though the nation is currently facing a challenging times, the government is committed to uplift the living standards of all Sri Lankan citizens. Therefore, this year's Thai Pongal festival can be celebrated with renewed hope by those celebrating in Sri Lanka and all over the world. He extended his wishes to everyone celebrating a happy and prosperous Thai Pongal and the very best for the year ahead. Opposition leader Sajith Premadasa has said that in a period which calls for the need for closer cooperation with nature, cultural events such as Thai Pongal, which are entwined with the nature, add great value to the endeavour. The entire world is suffering from consequences at present for going against nature. The world is in need of reconciliation. The opposition leader has emphasised that humankind has been tasked with greater responsibility to achieve this need. The Thai Pongal festival should be used as a bridge in this regard.
Many celebrations organised across the country marking the day of Thai Pongal. The festivities were organised while adhering to health protective guidelines. Thai Pongal Day celebrations organised by the Sri Lanka Rupavahini Corporation was held at the National Television's Rajat studio this morning. The special puja of the ceremony, which was held while prioritising Hindu cultural rituals, was conducted by Shiva Sri Gobinatha Kurukkal. Chairman of the SLRC, Dr. Nihal Jayatilaka, and its Director General Ajit Naragala were present at this occasion. Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation also organised a special celebration to mark the Thai Pongal festival. The ceremony was held in the presence of Chairman of SLBC, Jagat Wickramasinghe, and its Director General, Chandrapala Liyanage. Many Hindu devotees in Colombo and other isolated areas engaged in festivities related to Thai Pongal festival today from their respective residences. The religious rituals were conducted appropriately even though devotees were absent from the kovils. A special puja was conducted at the Sri Selva Vinayagar Kovil in Kandy this morning. It was held with the participation of many Hindu devotees. Special pujas were organised in many kovils in celebration of Thai Pongal Day festival in Batiklo district. The main puja was held at the Anaipanthi Pillar Kovil in Batiklo. Many religious activities and pujas were organised in many kovils in Vaunia district as well. A special puja was held at the Sri Manika Pillar Kovil in Hatton. A special puja was also organised at the Sri Kadir Velayuda Kovil in Kalutara. A special puja was held at the Kadiresan Kovil in Gaul in celebration of Thai Pongal festival.
In line with the decision taken towards the promotion and development of domestic cinema industry, a decision has been reached to re-grant tax concessions granted by Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa during his presidential tenure and suspended by the previous Yahapalana government. This decision was reached following a request made by professionals involved in the cinema industry recently. This decision was taken up by Secretary to the Ministry of Finance, S.R. Artikala. The Secretary to the Ministry of Buddha Sashana, Religious and Cultural Affairs, Professor Kapila Gunawardena, the professionals engaged in a domestic cinema industry met with the Prime Minister on January 8th at the Temple Trees to discuss on the issues pertaining to the industry. The Prime Minister's Chief of Staff, Yoshitha Rajapaksa, Chairman of the Local Filmmakers Alliance, and the Prime Minister's Media Secretary, Rohan Valivita, were present at the occasion. Accordingly, import duty concessions will be granted for equipment for the film industry. Also, discussions were held on the possibility to grant tax allowances for the expenditures incurred during the production of a film and to grant tax concessions for the income earned through exhibition of films. These tax concessions will be enforced under the approval of the National Film Corporation. Accordingly, all professionals in the cinema industry will be able to obtain the necessary tax concessions by applying via the National Film Corporation.
Well, moving on to some Corona local stories, the number of COVID-19 recoveries in the country has increased up to 43,747. A total of 480 recoveries were reported in the country today. The percentage of fully recovered COVID-19 patients in the country stands at 86.48, while the percentage of active patients currently receiving treatments is at 13.03, with the tally at 6,589. A total of 8,418 COVID-19 recoveries have been reported in the country since the beginning of this month, and the highest number of recoveries recorded in a day was reported on January 1st, with a total of 826 recoveries. Meanwhile, another 354 COVID-19 patients were identified in the island today. 14,329 PCR tests were conducted yesterday. Accordingly, the total number of PCR tests up to now has reached 1,441,695. Meanwhile, rapid antigen testing to identify COVID-19 patients was recommenced in the 11 exit points of the Western Province yesterday. Accordingly, 504 individuals were directed to the testing and 6 were tested positive for COVID-19. The grace period facilitated for the public to make the payments for the fines for motor traffic violations through post and sub-post offices of the Postal Services Department due to the spread of the COVID-19 outbreak scheduled to conduct tomorrow. Accordingly, after tomorrow, all traffic fines issued for violations can be paid to the post and sub-post officers without additional charges for the first 14-day period since the issuance of the ticket. An additional charge will be levied on all traffic fines which can be paid to the post and sub-post officers within the 28-day period since the issuance of the ticket. However, traffic fines which have exceeded the 28-day period since the issuance of the ticket will not be permitted to make relevant payments to the post and sub-post officers. Yet, upon the request of the Traffic Police Department, the opportunity will be granted for the public to make the payments for the fine tickets issued by the Colombo City Traffic Police and Police Emergency Service Unit during working hours at the post and sub-post offices using the previous grace period until February 8th.
The Chief Epidemiologist, Dr. Sudat Samaraweera, briefed on the quarantine process currently enforced for tourists arriving from foreign countries as well as for sports personalities arriving into the country for sporting activities. He made these remarks at a media briefing held today.
Since arrival, that there was no any chance to contaminate or to spread this to the other people, because that they were living in a biosecure bubble, that it was maintained very well, and we will be continuing monitoring that, so that with this concept of bio bubble that we can continue the work while quarantining any person. And this is very important in the activities like sports activities, because the people that who are engaged in these activities should maintain their physical integrity. So because of that physical fitness, so because of that they should engage in exercises, then group exercises, then group training. So because of that, within this biosecure bubble, they can engage on these activities, preventing the spread of the infection if somebody is infected into the society. So it is a very effective method to resume the new life in coming days. With this biosecure bubble concept, the tourism industry also will be revamping in coming days. More and more flights will come to the country, more tourists will come. But on arrival, they will be subjected to a PCR. If they are infected, they will be isolated and treated. And if they are not infected, they will be living within a biosecure bubble and will be allowed to visit the places in our country in a limited or restricted manner that within that biosecure bubble, and that will prevent the spread of the virus to our local people, because that there is no chance to meet local people by the tourist people. There is no cross-contamination or interaction in between the local people and the tourist. If somebody is interacting with these tourists, like the people who are providing services to these people, also will be living within that biosecure bubble. And in addition to that, when these tourists leave the country, that they will be living 14 more days under quarantine and will be tested, and if they are only not infected, will be released to the society. So with this concept, there will be no any chance that this virus will be introduced into the country.
He also commented on the COVID-19 vaccines produced in other countries and the relevant success rates in the combating of the novel coronavirus.
At the moment, several vaccines has been produced and effectively introduced into the people in the world. Some of the vaccines are developed in the United States of America, some are in the United Kingdom, and some, although vaccine research have been going on in China and Russia also. And one of the vaccine that is been successful is Oxford AstraZeneca vaccine. This is a product of Oxford University Research in collaboration with the AstraZeneca company. And once the COVID vaccine has been identified, then they developed, then the next challenge is the production. There should be mass production, and there are the largest vaccine production companies are existing in India. Even in our normal immunization program, most of the vaccines that we are importing are from these Indian companies. So the vaccine, the same identical vaccine that is developed by the Oxford and AstraZeneca, will be produced within the laboratories and the factories in India. So these vaccines very likely that we will be receiving. What we are receiving is the vaccine that is researched and developed by Oxford and AstraZeneca. So it will be a very safe and very effective vaccine according to the available evidence. So it will be available to our people in coming days. And the other thing is that with this we know that there is a new variant, that is virus variants identified in UK, and it has been now spread into many other countries, the United States of America, some Latin American countries, Australia, then Japan, then India. So with this there is the threat that this virus can introduce into our country also. So because of that, we have taken the maximum precaution. But the good news is that even this new variant will be killed by or will be destroyed by this new vaccine, or the new vaccine is effective against this new strain. So with that, so that it is a very good news that there is no that we will be able to, the global community will be able to control this new variant also with the introduction of the vaccines.
The 13th Executive Council meeting of the Asian Buddhist Conference for Peace was held with the participation of President Gotabaya Rajapaksa at Sri Sambodhi Viharaya in Colombo 7 today. After the World War II, Russians and Mongolian Buddhist leaders focused on the need for an international Buddhist organization aimed at promoting unity. Consequently, the Buddhist laity and clergy gathered at Mahaviharaya in Ulaanbaatar in Mongolia on June 13, 1970, to hold the first meeting of the Asian Buddhist Conference for Peace. The second conference was held in Sri Lanka. At present, all the Buddhist countries in the world are members of this organization. Sri Lanka is the host for the 13th Executive Council meeting. The Asian Buddhist Conference observed that acting as the host country in the face of corona pandemic will bring special honor to Sri Lanka and result in forming closer ties with other countries. Representatives of 25 countries joined today's conference via Zoom online conferencing platform. Before attending the conference, President engaged in religious rituals at the Sri Sambodhi Viharaya. Venerable Professor Madhagoda Abhyatisatthera explained the objectives of the conference. Deputy Prelate of the Malwatha chapter, Most Venerable Nyangoda Vijitasiri Thera delivered the main speech on responsibility of Buddhists in the face of COVID-19. The keynote address was delivered by MP Dr. Vijayadasa Rajapaksa. Prime Minister of Mongolia, Ukhan Jinkurel Suk, addressed the gathering via video technology. The final speech of the first session was delivered by Venerable Dr. Maipitipe Vimalasara Thera. Following the opening of the conference, President Rajapaksa called on the chief incumbent of Sri Sambodhi Viharaya, Venerable Buralande Vajranayana Thera. The Mahasangha, representing 3 chapters, Principal Advisor to the President Lalit Veeratunga, and local and foreign Buddhist representatives were present at the occasion.
Colombo District Electoral Boards of Sri Lanka Podjana Peramuna were convened today. In parallel to this event, several youth and women's electoral boards in several electorates were also convened today, and the theme of the event was Siudesa Suraki, Siuvasara. All meetings were held in accordance to health protective guidelines. Kaduli Electoral Board was convened at the Urban Council Auditorium today. Lengthy discussions were held on development projects and government programs, including the program to distribute 100,000 jobs. State Minister Susil Premajayantha, Chairman of the Colombo District Development Committee Pradeep Undugoda, and Kaluthura District Parliamentarian Lalit Ellawala were present at this occasion. Women's Electoral Board for the Dehiwala electorate was held today. Colombo District Secretary to the Prime Minister Dhanasiri Amaratunga was present at this occasion. Youth Electoral Board for Kasbah electorate was held with the presence of Minister Gamini Lokuge. Gampha District Parliamentarian Milanja Tilaka was also present at this occasion.
Arugambe coastal strip is popular among both local and foreign tourists as one of the most suitable coastal lines for surfing. Therefore, Arugambe possesses a high tourist attraction throughout the year. A large number of families in the region has incorporated this into their livelihood, yet they have faced with a severe crisis situation at present following the COVID-19 outbreak in the country. Arugambe is considered as the 4th most scenic coastal strip in Asia. This area became a global attraction as a tourist destination following the conclusion of the war against terrorism. The Association of Professional Surfers organized the first surfing tournament of the Arugambe coastal strip in 2010. Subsequently, the Arugambe coastal belt gained high tourist attraction with annual surfing tournaments organized in the region. Approximately 400,000 local and foreign tourists visit Arugambe tourist zone in yearly basis, spend their vacation. Accordingly, nearly 3,000 families have made tourism industry as their sole livelihood, out of which most of them make a living by providing facilities for tourists who visit the coastal strip for surfing.
The government has allocated provisions worth 1,500 million rupees for the agricultural development in Monoragala district for this year. Provisions worth 3,000 million rupees have been allocated this year for the erection of electric fence as an effort to minimize elephant-human conflict. These remarks were made at the committee meeting of the District Livelihood Development held at the Monoragala Library Auditorium yesterday. Representing several ministries, public representatives including ministers were present at this meeting. Minister Prasanna Ranatunga, addressing the meeting, said that a joint program has been initiated for the promotional development of tourism-related activities associated with wildlife zones. The attention was also directed on the infrastructure development of National Zoological Gardens in Monoragala district. Minister Mahindananda Alutgamage mentioned that provisions worth 1,500 million rupees have been allocated for the agricultural development in Monoragala district for this year. The minister also said that the only economic centre proposed to be constructed in the country this year will be established in the Monoragala district. A program to provide necessary reliefs and subsidies for all crop cultivations in the district also expected to be initiated. A special attention was directed to provide solutions for the elephant-human conflicts in the district. State Minister Roshan Ranasinghe said that steps will be taken to resolve all land-related issues in the district in an expedited manner. State Ministers Shashindra Rajapaksa, Shehan Semasinghe and Dilum Amnugana were present at this discussion.
That's it for tonight's English News Update. Thank you for joining us. Good night.
Good night.